Hello everyone. I am struggling to find the right tone for this video. The reason? I opened the homepage of a Nigerian newspaper today, and the first headlines that met my eyes were stories of violence. Hundreds of people abducted in Niger State. Another report of a gang attack in Haiti, leaving dozens dead and many more injured. And I found myself asking a question that is painful, uncomfortable, and perhaps even offensive to some people. Why are black men killing black people? Why do I say that? Because let's face the truth. All of this violence happening among us black people are being perpetrated by black men. So, why are black men killing black people all over the world?
Residents of Kenscoff grieve their loved ones after what the local mayor described as a night of terror. Bodies were left strewn on the ground following the gang raid. The Viv Ansam Coalition is believed to be behind the killings, a group that the US has designated as a foreign terrorist organization.
The Viv Ansam Coalition caused major damage in the town. Those who died were young people who were the future of this country.
Let me be very clear about what I mean. I am not talking about every black man. I am not saying black men are uniquely violent. And I am certainly not saying that violence is somehow encoded in being black. I am talking about a disturbing reality that we must have the courage to confront. In far too many parts of the black world, organized violence against black populations is overwhelmingly being carried out by black men who are themselves black. And I am angry about it. I am furious about it. Because somewhere along the line, something has gone terribly wrong. The man who should be standing between his family and danger is sometimes the very person bringing danger to the family. The man who should be protecting the community is sometimes the one terrorizing it. The man who should be building the future is sometimes the one burning it down. And we have to stop pretending that this is somebody else's problem. In Niger State, according to reports, armed men abducted hundreds of worshippers. President Tinubu described the perpetrators as enemies of peace and humanity and ordered security agencies to coordinate a rescue operation. Think about that. People went to worship God, or in this case, let me say Allah. And armed men came and took them. Children were among those reportedly held captive. What kind of society are we becoming when a person can't even go to a place of worship without wondering whether armed men will come through the door? And then you look across the Atlantic at Haiti, a black nation, a nation whose people have endured slavery, colonialism, political upheaval, poverty, natural disasters, and foreign interference. And yet today, ordinary Haitians are still being terrorized by armed men. Another generation is being robbed of the possibility of a normal life. This is not liberation. This is not resistance. This is not revolution. This is destruction. And I am tired of hearing colonialism and neo-colonialism invoked as though they explain everything that happens in black societies today. Yes, colonialism did enormous damage. Yes, slavery was catastrophic. Yes, foreign powers have exploited African countries and other black nations. Yes, neo-colonialism is a real thing. We cannot dismiss it. Yes, corruption, economic inequality, weak institutions, political manipulation, and the legacy of colonial borders all matter. We should never erase history. But history cannot become an eternal excuse. At some point, we have to look at ourselves. Because colonialism did not put the gun in the hand of today's kidnapper. Colonialism did not force today's gang member to collect ransom from the family of a terrified child. Colonialism did not tell today's armed robber to murder an innocent person. Colonialism did not force one black man to rape, torture, kidnap, or slaughter another black man. The past may explain some of our circumstances, but it does not absolve us of responsibility for what we choose to do today. And this is where I want to speak specifically to black men. Please, let's stop dancing around the uncomfortable fact. The overwhelming majority of the perpetrators of these forms of organized physical violence are men. The warlords are men. The gang leaders are men. The kidnappers are men. The armed terrorists are men. The men who recruit young boys into armed groups are men. The men who send other men to kill are men. And when we see women participating in these organizations, far too often, they are operating within systems created and dominated by men. So yes, I am speaking to black men. And I am asking, what happened to our understanding of manhood? When did being a man become synonymous with having power to intimidate? When did strength become the ability to make another human being afraid? When did masculinity become domination? When did carrying a weapon become a substitute for having a purpose? And when did we start confusing fear with respect? Because if 20 people are terrified of you, that does not make you a great man. It makes you a dangerous man. There is nothing admirable about making a mother beg for the life of her child. There is nothing masculine about abducting children. There is nothing courageous about attacking unarmed worshippers. There is nothing heroic about murdering people who cannot defend themselves. And there is certainly nothing liberating about destroying the very community from which you came. You are not protecting black people by terrorizing black people. You are not advancing the race by killing the race. You are not fighting oppression by becoming an oppressor. And you are not proving your manhood by demonstrating that you can destroy somebody weaker than you. Real strength is restraint. Real courage is responsibility. Real power is the ability to protect without abusing. And real manhood is understanding that your strength is not given to you merely for yourself. It is a responsibility. For generations, societies across Africa and the wider black world have talked about men as protectors. The protector of the family, the protector of the community, the protector of children, the protector of the vulnerable. But protection cannot remain a slogan we repeat when convenient. It has to become a standard. If you are strong enough to carry a gun, you should be strong enough to refuse to use it against an innocent person. If you are influential enough to command a gang, you should be influential enough to lead young men away from crime. If you have enough courage to confront someone, you should have enough courage to walk away from unnecessary violence. If you have the power to destroy a community, you have the responsibility not to destroy it. And if you are a black man with influence, whether you are a politician, soldier, police officer, religious leader, businessman, community leader, celebrity, or ordinary citizen, you have a responsibility to ask yourself what kind of legacy you are creating. Because we cannot keep saying that we want better societies while tolerating men who make those societies unlivable. We cannot demand dignity from the world while denying dignity to one another. We cannot complain about racism while becoming indifferent to the suffering of our own people. And we cannot keep telling our children that their lives matter while allowing armed men to decide who gets to live and who gets to die.
This is the scene where it happened. Behind me is the home of the Bale whose wife was abducted. Yayoka was abducted last Friday night and snatched away from her home. And abductors are reportedly demanding 20 million naira. The small community seems abandoned because I could hear myself speak. That is a mosque over there. A couple of houses spread across, but I can tell you for sure there are limited amount of persons we are seeing here. I could count the persons I'm seeing. Those are 2 persons there. And on the other side, a couple of homes which have been abandoned. Somebody was here, the son of the Bale, the person of Abiodun, who is here, Abiodun Shehu. Abiodun will join me shortly. to give us a first-hand experience of what transpired and perhaps the continuous experience and what has transpired, the development surrounding the entire abduction. Abiodun, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Look at the television. Look at the camera over there. Tell us, were you here when that thing happened?
Yes, outside? I was there.
Tell us what happened. What did you see? What did you
hear? Because they are living, this is the place she was sleeping, and we were sleeping here. But in the time that thing was happening, you can't hear anything if we are inside this house. So we can't hear anything. But the girl sleeping with her said there are 6 that they come. Small children, 4 with adults too.
Let's come off the road. Now, did you hear gunshot? What did you see?
No, they did not shoot.
But now, after the incident, where are the members of the community? Where is your dad? Where is your family?
They have left this place. They are not living in the next town.
You don't sleep here anymore?
Yes.
So what do you come to do here now?
We just come to check our farm. We are going back soon.
There is another uncomfortable conversation we need to have. Black women should not have to carry the burden of surviving black male violence while simultaneously being told to protect the image of black men. We cannot demand solidarity from black women when it is convenient and then become silent when women and children are the victims of violence committed by black men. Our communities must be capable of holding their men accountable, not because black men are uniquely evil, but because black men are human beings with moral agency. We should expect more from them precisely because we know they are capable of more. And to the black men who are doing the right thing, the fathers working honestly to provide for their families, the men protecting their communities, the soldiers and police officers risking their lives to save others, the teachers mentoring young boys, the community leaders settling disputes instead of starting them, the young men who reject the lure of criminality. This message is not an accusation against you. You are the evidence that another kind of black masculinity is possible. A masculinity that does not need victims. A masculinity that does not require fear. A masculinity that does not measure its worth by the number of people it can dominate. A masculinity built on discipline, courage, responsibility, sacrifice, and protection. That is the standard we need. And to the men who are carrying weapons into villages, towns, churches, mosques, and communities, please put them down. To the men kidnapping our people, please stop. To the men recruiting boys into gangs, stop turning children into instruments of destruction. To the men who profit from the suffering of their own people, look at what you are becoming, because one day you may discover that you destroyed the very society your own children needed to survive. And what will you tell them? That you had no choice? That colonialism made you do it? That somebody else wronged you first? That you were poor? You were angry? That everybody else was doing it? No. At some point, a man has to look in the mirror and accept the responsibility for his own choices. We cannot build a future while murdering the present. We cannot educate children for a future that armed men are destroying today. We cannot build businesses when criminals make entire communities unsafe. We cannot attract investment when people are afraid to travel to our place. We cannot develop countries where human life has become cheap. And we cannot talk endlessly about the greatness of Africa while tolerating behavior that makes ordinary Africans afraid to live in their own communities. So this is my plea to black men everywhere. Please live up to the responsibility of your strength. Be the protectors. Protect your children. Protect your families. Protect your communities. Protect the vulnerable. Protect human life. Protect the future. And if you have power, use it to build. If you have influence, use it to lift up. If you have strength, use it to shield. If you have courage, use it to stand between the vulnerable and those who would harm them. Do not become the man your community has to hide its children from. Do not become the reason a mother sleeps with one eye open. Do not become the reason a child grows up believing that a black man is something to fear. We have inherited enough pain in our lives. We do not need to manufacture more. Our ancestors survived ships, plantations, colonialism, segregation, war, and unimaginable oppression. Their descendants should not have to survive one another. So, black men, I am asking you, and I am asking you with everything I have. Enough. Enough killing. Enough kidnapping. Enough terror. Enough using poverty as an excuse for cruelty. Enough using history as an excuse for criminality. Enough confusing brutality with strength. Enough teaching boys that violence is manhood. Enough destroying your people you claim to represent. Be the shield, not the sword. Be the father, not the predator. Be the builder, not the destroyer. Be the protector, not the annihilator. Because the future of our communities cannot depend only on what black men are capable of destroying. It must depend on what black men are willing to protect. And if we truly love our people, then let us prove it. Not with slogans, not with anger, not with speeches, but with the one thing that matters most. The decision to preserve black life rather than destroy it. Thank you for listening. See you in the next video.